Shalom, this is Sabal Awalam, HOI, New York, New Jersey, HOI till the chariots fly. And this subject might be a little controversial, it might be a little uncomfortable, but it needs to be addressed. And basically, what I want to speak on is why I don't support the Stop Asian Hate movement, Asian American Pacific Islander Stop Asian Hate. And basically, it's like this. Now, how do you expect me to want to support a movement called Stop Asian Hate when, even though as high yellow as I might be, I'm a so-called black man? And with being a so-called black man, my people have been going through conditions in this country that the term hell on earth doesn't do justice to, literally, from those of us that survived the Middle Passage, those of us that survived the slave ships and didn't jump off the slave ships, all 5 or 6 of us chained together at a time. One of the few things they didn't lie to us about in social studies class was the fact that you had so many captive, they say Africans, but it really wasn't Africans. It was Southern Kingdom Israelites. So many of us were jumping off the slave ships going across the Atlantic Ocean that you had sharks following the slave ships. That's how many of us would jump off. And it's crazy because sharks, if you know anything about marine biology, sharks are not particularly intelligent animals. But if they were able to figure out that if you see this big thing in the water and if you follow it, that meat is going to fly off of this big thing floating in the water if you follow it. If the sharks were able to figure that out, that goes to show you how many of our people did it. That's one thing they say. Sharks used to follow the slave ships because they knew that our people would go jump off because they prefer death to bondage, as they like to say in the Black Panther movie. And, okay, the next point I was going to make is detracting from the point. Well, actually, no. When you watch Black Panther, you actually find out that Killmonger is the hero and not the villain. But here's the thing. You want people to support the Stop Asian Hate movement when my people been going through hell from those of us that survived the slave ships, those of us that survived the Middle Passage. And that's 400 plus years. That's what my people are going through. But yet, Asians can get laws passed for them because a few of them been getting knocked upside the head over the past year because of COVID-19. Now, you want me to support Asians, but here are some more differences between us and them. You go into any black neighborhood, and here's what you'll see. You go into any black neighborhood, and you will see Chinese laundromats and dry cleaners, Korean beauty supply stores and liquor stores, Arab corner stores, African hair braiding shops, East Indian gas stations and chicken joints, and chances are they're all paying rent to some white so-called Jew. That's what you see in the so-called black neighborhood. The only businesses that our people own are Jamaican restaurants, Dominican barbershops, and Dominican hair salons. That's it. Those are the only businesses that our people own. But the very, 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 very necessary businesses are all owned by some group of heathens. But Philly, New York, DC, LA, and San Francisco all have Chinatowns. Now, I've seen the LA and San Francisco Chinatown on TV. I've actually been to all 3 of the Chinatowns in New York, Chinatown in Philly, and Chinatown in DC. New York, being the biggest city in America, has 3 Chinatowns. One is in Lower Manhattan, around Canal Street. One is in Flushing, Queens, and the other one is in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. And in each of these Chinatowns, it's nothing but so-called Chinese people owning all of the businesses there. But I just described to you who owns the businesses in the black neighborhoods. But yet they got this campaign called Stop Asian Hate. They can get laws passed for them so that if you knock one of them upside the head, then you get prosecuted for assault as a hate crime. But yet neither the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act or the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, neither one of these laws that benefited so-called black people made it past the Senate. But so-called Asians can get a law passed for them. And yet they want people to support the Stop Asian Hate movement. And a lot of times you want me to stop Asian hate, but not only don't Asians care about the hate toward black people, they've contributed to it. Let's not forget about Latasha Grinley. I'm sorry, I can't think of the girl's last name, but this was back in 1979. A young black girl that got shot and killed over a $1.29 glass of orange juice. And also how these Asian men are beating up black women in their beauty supply